Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Wednesday, February 18th, 2026.
Good to be here.
Today, we're opening up a stack of sources that seem to be telling two completely different stories.
It really is a tale of two realities. A huge conflict between what the software on your watch promises to do for you,
Right.
and what the hardware is, actually capable of delivering.
Exactly. On one side, we have this shiny new world of Garmin's software update 16.28. It's rolling out as we speak, and it wants to be your life coach.
It really does.
Wants to optimize your sleep, manage your battery anxiety, even critique your drinking habits. It's a very impressive, very polished stuff.
And then on the other side, we get this cold shower of a scientific study.
Yeah.
It's a preprint paper called Right Place, Right Time by Amin Sinichi and his colleagues.
It's from Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam.
Yep. And they've been testing these consumer wearables against gold standard ECGs, and the results are, let's just say they're pretty sobering.
And we're also pulling in some great analysis from the journalistic outlet, the 5K Runner. That's the 5runner.com. Specifically, a piece they did on the, quote, fallacy of wrist-based HRV. So our mission today is to navigate this contradiction. We want to help you understand the cool new tools that Update 16.28 is giving you. But we also need to teach you when to actually trust that data and when you should probably just roll your eyes and ignore it completely.
Yeah, it's all about moving from being just a passive consumer of data to being an informed user of the tech. Knowing the limits of your tool is just as important as knowing its features.
Let's start with the good news then. Let's start with the optimism, the upgrade.
Sounds good.
So if you're wearing a Forerunner 970, a 570, the Venue 4, or a Vivo Active 6, Update 16.28 is the big news. And looking at the changelog, there is one feature that I think justifies the entire install by itself.
You're gravitating toward the battery manager glance, aren't you?
I absolutely am. I think pretty much everyone has battery anxiety to some degree. You look down, it's at 12%, and you have no idea why.
Oh, for sure. This update finally answers that question. Why?
It's a massive quality of life improvement.
It is. In the past, battery stats were just a black box.
Yeah.
You just got a percentage and maybe a guess at how many days were left.
Right.
The new battery manager glance, it breaks down power consumption over the last 14 days with incredible granularity.
Yeah.
It pinpoints exactly what's draining the tank.
Is it the GPS? Is it the backlight?
Is it the Spaceship A2 sensor checking your blood oxygen all night? It tells you.
And what I love is that it doesn't just, shame you for your settings. It actually offers solutions. It's helpful.
Right. It's prescriptive. So if it sees that GPS is the culprit, it might suggest switching to SETI Hue mode.
Which is that smart feature, right?
It's a really smart feature, yeah. It automatically toggles between the power-hungry multi-band GPS and the normal single-band, depending on if you're, say, under heavy tree cover or out in an open field. It's optimizing your battery without you even thinking about it.
So that's the utility side, which I love. But Garmin is also pushing really hard into the lifestyle side with this update. There's a new daily habits glance.
This feels like a direct move to compete with the likes of Whoop or Aura.
It does.
This is Garmin trying to close the loop between your behavior and your biology. The Daily Habits Glance tries to explicitly correlate your choices with your health metrics.
So instead of just showing me a bad sleep score and letting me guess why.
Exactly. The system tries to link that poor sleep to, say, the glass of wine you logged, or the high screen time you had right before bed.
Which is helpful, mostly. Although, it does feel a little bit like having a nagging parent on your wrist. I saw you had that Sauvignon Blanc.
And look at your heart rate variability now.
Hey.
Was it worth it?
Was it worth it?
It can be intrusive, I agree. But from a data perspective, it's providing useful context. And they bolstered this with sleep insights, which goes a step further. It actually gives you recommendations for your ideal bedtime and wake-up windows.
Based on your recovery patterns.
Right. It's trying to coach you into better sleep hygiene, not just report on how tired you are.
Okay. And there's another feature here for the serious athletes, specifically the hybrid athletes. The multi-sport mode has been expanded.
Oh, yeah. This is huge for the HYROX crowd.
Oh.
Or CrossFitters. Previously, if you wanted to track a session that was like running, then rowing, then wall balls.
We had to stop and start new activities each time. It was a mess.
Or you just logged it all as generic cardio and you lost all the detail.
And then your Strava upload looks terrible. And if it's not on Strava, did it even happen?
Did it even happen? Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, you can chain all those gym-based activities together as individual legs of a single workout. It keeps the data clean.
And saves you from fiddling with buttons when your heart rate is at, 180. And speaking of not fiddling with buttons, I have to give a shout out to the stage mode for notifications. This is one of those small things that makes a huge difference.
Ah, the silence is golden feature.
Seriously. Nothing's worse than being in the middle of a hard interval, you're totally focused, and your watch buzzes. You look down thinking it's a pace alert.
And it's a notification for a 20% off pizza coupon.
Yes, it totally breaks your flow state.
So stage mode is just a smart recognition of context. It delays those smart notifications until after your workout is finished. You still get the message, just not when you're trying to hit a PR.
And just to wrap up the software side, they've finally fixed that music player blank screen bug.
They have. And also the crash when loading indoor cycling courses. So
Yeah.
all in all, it seems like a very stable, feature-rich update.
Okay, so if we pause here, the picture looks great. We have daily habits connecting our lifestyle to our stress. We have sleep insights telling us when to go to bed.
Weight tracking syncing from the Index S2 scale.
It feels like the watch is becoming this all-knowing health companion.
It certainly feels that way. I mean, the user interface is telling you, I know how stressed you are. I know how well you recovered. But
Here it comes, the bump.
here's where we have to pivot. Because all of those sophisticated software insights, the stress score, the body battery, all of it, they're all mathematical houses built on one single foundation.
The little optical sensor on the back of the watch.
Precisely. And that brings us to the Right Place, Right Time study by Amin Sinichi's team. While Garmin's software engineers have been building these beautiful dashboards,
These researchers have been in Amsterdam checking the math on the hardware.
and the results suggest that foundation might be a little shakier than we'd like to believe.
So let's unpack this study.
Yeah.
Because you see these headlines all the time, watch versus medical device, but usually the sample sizes are tiny. What did they actually do here?
They took 62 participants, which is a really respectable sample size for this kind of physiological study, and they had them wear a Garmin VO Smart 4 alongside a device called the VU-AMS Core.
That sounds very serious.
It is. The VU-AMS is a gold standard ambulatory ECG device.
Yeah.
And ambulatory is the key word.
Meaning they weren't just in a lab.
No, they weren't strapped to a table. They gathered data for a full day of free living life. Walking, sleeping, working, sitting, standing. The real world.
And they wanted to see if the consumer watch could match the medical-grade ECG in that real world.
Specifically on two metrics. Heart rate, just the raw beats per minute, and heart rate variability, or HRV.
And we should probably just quickly define HRV for anyone who only knows it as a buzzword.
Sure. Heart rate is simple. How fast is your engine running? HRV is the variation in time between each of those heartbeats.
Right.
So if your heart beats 60 times a minute, it doesn't beat exactly once every second. One beat might be 0.9 seconds, the next 1.1. That variance is HRV. And it's crucial because it reflects the balance of your autonomic nervous system.
Your fight or flight versus your rest and digest systems.
Exactly. High variance is generally good. It means you're recovered and adaptable. Low variance implies stress.
Okay. So how did the watch do?
Well, for me, heart rate, it was actually reasonably good. If you just want to know roughly how fast your heart is beating on average, is my heart rate 80 or 120, the device works. The correlation was pretty strong.
Okay, so that's a win. But the fancy features in update 16.28, the stress tracking, the body battery, those don't rely on heart rate, they rely on HRV.
And that is where the accuracy just fell off a cliff. Specifically for metrics like RMSSD, which is the standard measure for HRV, and other frequency metrics. The study found that outside of perfect conditions, the error rates didn't just creep up, they spiked.
So when you say perfect conditions, what does that actually mean? What is the right place and right time?
The right time is when you are doing absolutely nothing. The agreement between the Garmin and the ECG was highest when there were, and this is a quote, 0 steps.
You're just sitting on the couch?
Even better, sleeping. The agreement was significantly better during sleep than during wakefulness. And your posture mattered immensely. Sitting or lying down was accurate.
But the second you stand up.
As soon as participants were standing, or in what they called a mixed posture, like moving around a kitchen, the error rates just jumped.
How big of a jump are we talking about here? Is this like a rounding error or is it meaningful?
Oh, it's substantial. For high-frequency HRV, the error rate went from about 43% during no steps to 74% when steps were present.
74%.
74. And even just standing up, caused the error to hover around 72%.
Wait, a 74% error rate?
Oh.
I mean, that's basically just random noise.
It's dangerously close to it. And it gets even more complicated. You might think, okay, well, maybe there's a consistent error. Maybe the watch always reads 10% low, so I can just mentally add 10 points.
Right, like a scale that's always 5 pounds heavy. You can still track the trend.
Unfortunately, no. The study found massive inter-individual variability. For some people, the Garmin systematically underestimated their HRV. For others, it overestimated it.
Sure.
The error range was up to 3 times larger for some individuals compared to others.
So you can't even learn your own watch's bias because you don't have a clue which way it's leaning without an ECG to check it against.
Exactly. And here's the part that I found most damning. The researchers tried to solve this with AI. They used machine learning, training a model on the watch's own data steps, sleep status, stuff like that, to try and predict when the signal quality was bad.
Okay, so could the watch basically self-diagnose its own inaccuracy? Like put up a little warning sign?
That was the hope.
Did it work?
It did not. The F1 scores, which is just a measure of a model's accuracy, they were low, around 0.69 to 0.76.
And in plain English?
In plain English, that means the watch doesn't know when it's wrong.
Yeah.
It can't reliably distinguish between a real change in your HRV and an error caused by you, say, waving your hand to hail a taxi.
Wow. That is a really tough pill to swallow, especially when this new update 16.28 is adding daily habits, which presumably looks at your stress during the day.
And this connects us directly to that analysis piece from the 5K runner about the fallacy of wrist-based tracking. Because we have to be clear, this is not just a Garmin problem.
Right.
The study used a VivoSmart 4, an older model, sure, but the issue is inherent to the technology itself. Photoplethysmography, PPG.
The little green lights on the back of basically every smartwatch, Apple, Whoop, Fitbit, Polar.
Correct. PPG works by shining a light into your skin and measuring how much bounces back to detect your pulse. But just think about the physics of that. You're trying to measure millisecond variances in heartbeats, that's HRV, using a sensor that's sitting on top of moving tendons and muscle and skin.
So if I'm typing on a keyboard or gripping a steering wheel, that muscle tension is changing the surface the light is hitting.
Exactly. It creates noise. And skin tone can play a role in the fit of the strap, subcutaneous tissue. The point the 5K runner makes is that this is a physics problem. You are trying to use a flashlight to measure a microscopic event while shaking the flashlight.
And yet, we all look at these stress scores and body battery numbers like they're gospel. Oh, my stress is an 85 right now. I must be totally overwhelmed.
That is the fallacy. These proprietary scores, stress, readiness, body battery, they are all calculations built on top of that raw, noisy HRV data. It's the classic computer science principle, garbage in, garbage out.
If the raw data is off.
If the raw RMSSD data is off by more than 100 milliseconds, which the study found happened, then the resulting stress score is it's meaningless.
It's like building a house on a foundation of quicksand. The house might look beautiful, the charts are colorful, the advice sounds good, but the data underneath is just shifting all over the place.
And worse, the blueprints for that house are secret. The algorithms are proprietary black boxes. The 5K runner points out that a user's stress score could change just because the company updated the software like in 16.28, not because your physiology actually changed.
So, okay. We're in a bit of a bind here. We have this new update that links our sleep and stress to our lifestyle, but the science says the stress tracking during the day when we're awake and moving is probably flawed. So how do we reconcile this? What do we actually do with the watch?
We have to synthesize the findings. We can't just throw the watch in the trash, but we can't blindly trust it either. The right place, right time conclusion really gives us the roadmap.
Which is?
Sleep. Sleep is the sanctuary of accurate data for these devices.
Because we aren't moving.
Exactly. When you're asleep, you're in a state of hypotonia. Your muscles are relaxed, you're still. The optical sensor has a stable connection. Using the watch to track overnight recovery trends, resting heart rate, and overnight HRV is scientifically defensible. That data is likely reliable enough to be useful.
So the new sleep insights in update 16.28, that gets a green light.
Mostly, yes. Trust the trends from your sleep data. If your overnight HRV plummets for a few days, pay attention. But the wake data, the daytime data, be extremely skeptical.
So if my watch says my stress is high while I'm walking around the office,
it's likely just picking up motion noise.
The 5K runner had some specific advice on this, right? A casual option and an athletic option.
Right. The casual option is what we just described. Look at the passive overnight averages. Use them as a general baseline for how your body is doing. If your overnight HRV crashes for 3 days in a row, you're probably getting sick or you're overtrained. That's valuable.
And the athletic option for the data
For
nerds.
the data nerds who want precision, the advice is do not rely on 24/7 passive tracking at all. Instead, take an active 1-minute measurement at the same time every single morning right after you wake up.
While you're sitting up, right?
Yes, sitting perfectly still. And ideally, you do it with a chest strap, which uses electrical signals, not optical light. But even with the watch's optical sensor, doing it while sitting still for 1 minute creates that right place, right time environment. It is vastly superior to the background data from when you're brushing your teeth.
You know, it's funny, looking back at the new features in 16.28 through this lens, the best ones are the ones that don't rely on the body sensors at all.
That's a great observation. The battery manager. That is purely managing the device's own hardware.
Okay.
The stage mode for notifications. That's just software logic.
User experience.
Right. These are great features because the watch can control them perfectly. The watch knows exactly how much battery it has. It doesn't have to guess.
Whereas the daily habits feature linking alcohol to your stress.
Requires a big grain of salt. If it says you slept poorly after drinking, believe it. The sleep tracking is decent. But if it says you had a high-stress day just because you were running errands, maybe ignore that. Don't let a random number dictate your mood.
So to wrap this all up, update 16.28 is a thumbs up for utility. It makes the watch a better smart device.
Absolutely. Better battery management, better notification control. Those are always wins.
But when it comes to the right place, right time for those biological insights,
The conclusion is pretty clear. The right place for a wrist wearable is in bed. The right time is during sleep or total rest. During the day, it's a notification machine. It is not a lab instrument.
it's so important to remember that. We get so attached to these numbers. We let them dictate how we feel. Oh, my body battery's low. I must be tired.
And that can become a self-fulfilling prophecy based on faulty data. That's the real danger.
I want to leave our listener with a thought here. The researchers in that Sinichi study, they tried to use machine learning to tell the difference between high-quality data and random noise. And they couldn't do it reliably. The computer couldn't tell the difference.
That's the key takeaway. If the algorithm doesn't know, you certainly don't.
Right, and you definitely can't feel the difference of a few milliseconds in your heartbeat variance. So if the watch can't tell the difference between a real stress response and you typing an email, are you actually optimizing your life based on your body's signals? Or are you just letting a random number generator decide how your day is going to go?
That is the million-dollar question.
Something to mull over before you check your stress score next time.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time.